My son was attacked and strangled on the school bus on January 23rd. He came home crying, and I saw red marks on his neck. And I asked him what happened. He's like, this girl on the bus, she was grabbing my face and like putting her hands on my throat. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, why would she do that? And it's the same girl that he told me about previously that had stolen a toy from him. Why would she do that? Well, she was calling me a name. I called her name back, and she came and attacked and strangled me. And she actually did it twice. The video that you guys have seen is actually the second video. She comes back there, and I've seen the school bus video as well. She goes back to his seat and attacks him. The bus driver tells everyone to get back in their seat. She does. As soon as he starts driving and not paying attention, she goes back to his seat again. And that's the second video that you guys have seen. I got sent that video, and I sent that, well, I went to the school and I showed them the video. I showed them my son's neck, and I was like, do something about this. And they're like, yeah, we're going to take action on it. So me thinking, for sure they're going to expel her because she put her hands around my son's neck. And not once did my son retaliate. This is one person attacking another. So I'm thinking that the school is going to do the right thing. I asked them what measures are going to be taken so I can make sure my son is safe at school. And they said that they couldn't tell me. So just in case, I did go, file charges against her right after I went to the school. Because this is a crime. And I was able to get a 2-week protection order. Immediately, right after I got the protection order, I gave it to the school. They had given it to her, so she had this protection order. She knew about it. And still, she continues to pass them in the hallway. At lunchtime, he was like, I'm sitting here, and she kept moving tables closer to me. And I asked the school, I was like, my son is telling me that she's not following this protection order. It says that she has to stay a minimum of 50 feet away. And I told him to check the cameras, and sure enough, it was exactly as my son said. And he asked if he could leave the lunchroom because he was not feeling safe, and they allowed him to leave. But why was she allowed even in that lunchroom with him? Why are they not following this 50 feet protection order? So I was able to get a 2-year protection order for my son as well, because obviously when the judge saw this video, he was furious. He's like, this is strangulation without fatality. And the girl's demeanor the whole time is just like, she didn't care. She did not care one little bit. And the judge saw that, and he's like, I don't think you're taking this seriously. If you were an adult, this would have been a felony, and you would have to write this on anytime you want to fill out a job application. Did you have a felony? Yes. She didn't care. So the judge granted the 2-year protection order, which I also gave to the school. But she's broken this at least twice. And I'm in the process of dealing with the police and stuff about this already. The thing is, I'm trying to deal with her, but I also now have to deal with the school, because if the school has this amount of evidence, and that should be able to protect my son. You got video, you have pictures, I got a protection order. Like, how are you still not able to protect my son? And suspension is equivalent to this? How is that fair? How does my son get traumatized for life and she gets suspension? And then all the kids know about this at the school, and they see her return to school, what kind of example are you setting to the kids? That you tolerate this kind of behavior? That, hey, it's okay to lay your hands on someone because, do you know what? It's only suspension. You can come back to school. How are we protecting our kids if we're not taking things like this seriously? And if you can see this picture, you can see the fear and pain in my son's eyes. I've been through a lot of trauma in my life, and I've told you guys this before. Rape, molested, I lost my mom, been cheated on, gone through divorce, you name it, I've gone through it. And again, they sound like words to people. Or, you know, on the news, I mean, they blur it out, so it's like, oh, I see an attack that's happening, and that's a sad thing. Or, yeah, she strangled someone, that's a sad thing, but that kills us. Like, that, the amount of trauma that this is, it's not a word to us. This is pain that stayed with us then, and it stays with us now. It's not as quickly as you can say this word and, you know, that was it. This kind of stuff sticks with us. And it's hard to go on, you know, and I feel sad that my son had to go through that and live with this. How are we expecting and telling children to go tell someone if someone is harming you, but the school does nothing about it? Because if the punishment for what a bully or who, the perpetrator, if the punishment isn't harsh enough, now this child has to fear for retaliation against that person. Oh yeah, the principal brought me in. Now I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. You know, I don't care that someone's talking to me. What, you're gonna suspend me for 3 days? I'll come back and I'm gonna kick your butt, you know? And this time you better not tell anybody. How many times have parents messaged me and told me that? Like, yeah, I didn't know about the bullying that was happening to my son or my daughter until months later because she was scared to come forward, that she's being threatened. And if the school isn't taking it seriously, like, what are they supposed to do? Why would they come forward when the school isn't taking things like this seriously? And parents are asking me like, hey, stuff has happened to my son or daughter. They depants him at school and push him down the stairs. And I don't have video proof, but he comes home with markings on his neck. And I've gone to the school and I asked them, like, please do something about this. And they say, there's nothing I can do. Well, guess what? If you have video proof and pictures, there's still nothing you can do. Like, they don't do anything about it. And that's not okay. That's why lasting change. Like, I don't want this just to be some story on the news that's like there for 5 minutes. Things have to change. We need to stop things like this from happening in our schools, and the schools need to protect our children. And I feel like the only way to do that is by putting preventative measures in place, teaching kids how to deal with anger, coping skills, stress, or depression, you know, realizing, you know, how precious every child is, and wanting to do good to others. Because if you see this video, not one person stood up for my son. They just laughed and took video. Like, is this where we're at in this world? Like, no one cares? That's what's important, is what we can, like, get out there and get likes and things like that? I want change. And I know millions of other parents around the world want change too. And all those kids on the bus that thought it was okay to laugh in video, they all can learn from this situation as well. So I guess it's not just the bullies. It's the people who instigate or try to get other people to do something, or not even stand up for others. Okay, can we not just teach everyone at the same time? and then put more punishment in place. Suspension for strangulation? How is that equivalent? How are we protecting our kids when they come to us, or they come to the administrators, like, hoping someone will help them? They're like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't see the proof. Okay, well, what about this proof that I gave them? That wasn't enough. So what is it? What needs to happen? I don't expect the school to follow around every single bully, you know? And if parents come forward and say, hey, this is happening to my son, okay, let's put more measures in place. Again, preventative measures, and also post-offense, harsher punishments. I know if I were to put my hands on someone's neck, I would be going to jail. I know what the punishment is for me. And okay, yeah, I don't want to do that. But if the punishment was suspension, I would have put my hands on someone's neck 1,000 times. The punishment has to fit the crime, and it's not. Schools need to make sure children realize it is not tolerated in the least amount, because the amount of trauma that happens to our children, they take that with them for the rest of their life. This isn't just a one-time thing and it's done. And unless something major happens, unless major changes are taking place, it's going to continue to happen. I'm hoping changes will be made. I was having a hard time as it is as a parent, having to live with this and watch this over and over again and talk about this. I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm depressed myself. And I feel like no one was listening to me, and no one's taking this seriously. And if you can't take me seriously with everything that I've given you, what do you want me to do? How are you expecting me to feel? How are you expecting him to feel? I feel so sad for all of the children who come forward and they're not being heard, and they're not being taken seriously. And the bullying continues to happen. That's why people commit suicide. And they're depressed. School is hard enough as is. And then to put on not being able to feel safe at school on top of that. What do we do? Schools cannot continue to ignore things like this. Our children cannot continue to go unheard and feel unsafe in the school. Nowadays, they put laws into place to try and help the bully or the perpetrator, so it doesn't go on their record, and, but the thing is, they're not helping the victims. You're just telling them to get over it. And we can't. I don't know how you expect us to get over that.